Hey, this is Joe for Citrus County Porch Life, coming to you today from Homosassa, Florida on January 27, 2025. And the word for today is positive. A cheerful heart is a good medicine, but a downcast spirit dries up the bones. Proverbs 17, verse 22, New Revised Standard. Have you ever spent time with friends who do not know anything but complaint? It is wearing. There is no joy in sitting with those who grumble about their life and whine about their circumstances. We have allowance for each other to go through dark times, and we want to be there for others as they would be there for us. But once we are over a difficulty, there is nothing more refreshing than spending time with someone who is positive. It brings healing to the soul. Positivity comes from finding in any circumstances a reason to be thankful. It's not a matter for the faint hearted. It is easy to complain when a situation goes bad. What can we do differently? As Paul writes, it is being thankful in all things that enables a person to overcome extraordinary situations. Likely, none of us have been through what Paul did, yet he calls us to thankfulness if he can do it. So can we. And the question for us is, what are you able to change in how you experience difficult situations that would help you be thankful? Well, I've got something to be very thankful for. I'm glad to announce it here that I've been approved for a new roof. We've gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's going to be repaired. Then the guy comes and says, "No, you need a new roof." Their person, too. And so it's going to be approved. Um, there's a slight delay. They don't use electronic transfers to pay off the contractor, even though, they're in good stead with each other. So they had to mail it by regular mail, and this Monday was a holiday. So I called this morning, and the construction people for the roof have not received the check yet. As soon as they do, they'll call me, make an appointment, and I'll get the roof done. There's only 2 days really that are bad for me, uh, Monday and Wednesday, and that's only from 9 to 11. That's when I teach the GED math at the library. And this coming Wednesday, which would be, well, I'm taping this on the 23rd. So next week, on the 29th, my student is taking everything but the math part of the GED exam. So we won't have a class. So, and I'm very thankful to have some 8 o'clock coffee that I didn't cook it in the percolator. I have little K cup, reusable K cups and filters for them. So I didn't feel like waiting, so I have 8 o'clock. It brings me back to my childhood, riding in the cart with my mom, and she would get a cup of 8 o'clock beans and put it at walk down the end of the coffee aisle. Very small stores. When you say an aisle, meaning in the 50s, it was nothing like, kind of like the Dobie Gillis stores. If anybody's old enough to remember Dobie Gillis, his father owned a grocery store, and those aisles were very small. Well, anyway, at the end of the aisle was a coffee grinder, and she put the beans in, collected it with the bag, folded the bag up, and I'd always ask her. I must have been two or three or four, maybe 1954, and I'd ask her to let me smell it, and it was like, wow, what a great smell! I can't wait till I have coffee. All I could have was coffee ice cream. That's big up in New England. So, very grateful for this coffee. Very grateful for the 25-cent mug. And so, part of this, the quote, but a downcast spirit dries up the bones. And drying up, as I learned in nursing school, He's a form of rot, and that's how they used to treat wounds. They keep them dry so that, and now it's just the opposite. When you have a wound, you try to keep it moist so that there's granulation tissue, new stuff builds up in the wound. But when things dry up, they die. When a cell wall breaks down, all the moisture comes out, and that causes the cell to die. And so, yeah, I can see the point of the quotation. And then it goes on in the first sentence. Do you know of anyone that just complains? And I immediately thought back, if you remember on Saturday Night Live, there were the whiners. There was a couple that would go and visit an average happy person, or they'd have them in to visit them. And all they did is complain about everything, everything in their life. And it was so over the top and so well done. All I did, I would gut laugh at it because I actually knew people like that. And this is what they're talking about. You get to the point where you don't really want to go visit them. I mean, everybody goes through a bad time, yes, but you're supposed to get through it. And the whiners on TV never did. They could complain about anything. And I'm trying to think of who starred in it, but I can't. I don't want to waste time thinking about it. But you know, positivity, a reason to be thankful in any circumstance. And he's right there to quote Paul, because Paul, when you really go through the New Testament, you see that he was being chased all over. Once he became Christian, the whole Jewish community, even though he had been a spokesman for them, even though he had written up the articles for the death of Stephen, they hated him. They hated him and hated him. And then eventually Rome did too, and he died. He had protection for a while from Rome. They couldn't do anything. In fact, some of them that had chained him and everything, when they found out he was a Roman citizen, you know, they went crazy. We're sorry, we'll let you go, blah, blah, blah. But he was happy in all circumstances. He was happy to go to the Lord because he knew what it would be. And he was happy to stay and work for the Lord here on earth. Either one he was happy with. And thankfully he stayed for a while to complete his letters and, fill the Bible with instruction of what some of the scriptures meant. And such an erudite mind, so logical. It says here, what are you able to change in how you experience difficult situations that would help you to be thankful? Well, for me, and this is only for me, some people are not really familiar with the Serenity Prayer. It is mostly used in Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's a wonderful prayer about accepting and being grateful for the things that you cannot change and happy for the things that you can. And there's a short form and a long form, and I'll just read the short form. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Such a beautiful prayer. Absolutely beautiful. Acceptance of the things we cannot change, that gets rid of all that internal discord that we have when we want what we want and we can't get it. And It has helped me for the last 33 and a half years. And that's, you know, it's a, I use that prayer every day in my life because there's some things you can't change. And you're either going to be a rotten person, resenting it, or just accept it and move on and do the next best right thing. That's, I really believe that's the way life is. And it's a good quote for alcoholics, and it's a good quote for people that aren't alcoholics. It's a good quote for anybody. It's really a dense prayer. It's kind of like the Gettysburg Address, rather. He said so much in a short period of time. This says the same thing. Short periods, sentences, and boom, it's got a powerful message. So that's how I would do it. Learn to accept things. Be thankful that we have what we have. Not resentful of what we don't have. Some of that we'll never have. I'm never going to be a billionaire unless I won a lottery. But I've got what I need. I've got a meal today. I'm planning a meal tonight, a kielbasa dinner, Polish, from my old neighborhood in Rhode Island, and I'm happy. I'm able to sit out here, make a video, hopefully helpful to someone. And what more can you ask for? So God bless, and we will talk to you tomorrow.